Hey, what's up? This is Karen Civil, and you are tuned in to Off the Record with my favorite, Tim and MB.
What's going on, everybody? I'm Tim.
And I'm MB.
And this is Off the Record, a show where we have conversations with dope people from all parts of the culture in hopes to bring you plenty game and more insight.
And today, we have the pleasure of speaking with a titan in the industry, a real power player, a real boss. She's been very instrumental in the careers of a lot of your favorite artists.
Yeah.
She's a brand strategist, digital marketing specialist, philanthropist, author, overall creator. And she does so much that people don't even know what to label her. So please welcome the great Karen Civil to Off the Record. How you doing today, Queen?
I'm doing good. Thank you so much for having me, guys.
We appreciate you coming on. And after that intro, obviously there's very few people that probably don't know who you are. But for those few, and when you're meeting someone for the first time, how do you describe yourself as far as what you do and kind of who you are and where you come from?
I basically tell them CEO of Always Civil, of my own marketing branding agency. And that's pretty much it. I'm a creative. At the end of the day, I create for myself, for other people. So if there's one title that fits it all, just a creator.
Great. So, so Karen, I know your brand isn't limited to just, I know that your brand and the work that you do isn't limited to just hip hop. But what made you initially pursue a career in the music industry? Like, were you always passionate about music?
Yeah, it started off more before hip hop. I was a pop fan.
Okay.
Like I loved
the Backstreet Boys, right?
I loved. It started off with like Another Bad Creation.
Yeah.
That was my first group I was absolutely in love with. Crisscross as well.
Yeah. But
like fandom getting me on the internet talking it started off with Immature.
Oh, okay.
But nothing panned from it when I used to write their fan clubs and stuff like that. So I was like, okay, this might be a waste.
Yeah.
So one day my brother came home with a Teen People magazine. The Backstreet Boys were on the cover because at the time, I had this clock radio in my bathroom, and my mom would only let me listen to 106.7 Light FM.
Yeah.
She would not let me listen to Hot 97 or no other music in my bathroom for some reason. She was like, when you're in here, it needs to be light music. You need to set a tone. I'm like, what are you talking about? I'm trying to listen to Biggie and Jay-Z when I shower and brush my teeth. But listening to that light station honestly helped. It was very soothing. But their power song was I'll Never Break Your Heart by the Backstreet Boys. And they would play it constantly, which that made me love them and become a fan. And one day my brother came home from summer school and he had this magazine with them on it. And from there, I wanted to learn so much more about them. Went on the internet and I started a fan club in 1997. And it really it honestly sparked from there. It was a hobby. And then I turned it into a career. It didn't make sense at the time, and I wasn't in a rush. And what I like to tell people is when I started my career, I didn't know what my career was going to be because there was really no options. Like I was in college, but then I left because I was in liberal arts for radio communications because that was the closest I thought I could be in music, not understanding branding, marketing. There's creative, social media, all of that stuff pretty much wasn't fully existing. We just had the AOL disc and, LimeWire and all that other stuff. So that really started it for me was just creating conversation with people that weren't in my community. And it didn't matter what you look like. Because I had a pen pal who was in China and it would take like a month to get a letter back.
Yeah.
Now with email, it'd take a couple hours and certain things. And I love that I could converse with people all across the country. And it didn't matter what we looked like. We had one thing in common, which was our love for this group. So that really helped me being able to have a network of people outside of my community so young made me realize like, okay, I could leave Elizabeth, New Jersey and find friendship and love everywhere. So that's really what did it for me. I'm like, yo, I love it. It became like a family thing. It just was amazing.
That's dope.
Did you fall in love with kind of the behind the scenes part of it first too? Like you said, the creating the fan club stuff. Did you have an aspiration to be at all in the forefront? Like a face of it too?
No, I still feel like a lot of times I'm behind the scenes making a lot of your favorite moments happen.
Yeah.
But that's what it started out for me. And, you know, when I was working with Flex, when I was working with Dipset, it was just about like creating them, helping them grow, become better, figuring out marketing and creative for them. But then when I left Funkmaster Flex being his intern, he didn't necessarily get it. So I was like, in order for me to make people understand where social media, the internet at the time was going, I said, I probably need to brand and create myself.
Yeah.
And just as a testing thing, being the first one. And that's what I started to do. I created my KarenCivil.com website. And it worked in my favor because I built a relationship with Mac Main of Young Money. And it took off because then my next big client was from my agency was Lil Wayne.
Yeah.
They saw all the stuff I was doing with my website, with my own brand. And they're like, yeah, we like this girl. We want her to help with the artists and talent we have over here.
Yeah, you had that foresight. Did you ever want to be an artist yourself?
No.
No?
I can't sing.
Yeah. Yeah.
I can't. I'm like not the best singer. But people make fun of me all the time because I'm very quick-witted with like words. And they're like, oh, okay, you could be a ghostwriter. So maybe I may be a ghostwriter, something to that effect.
Yeah.
But what's been great is I got shout out to my lawyer, Adam Zia, who told me the importance, which I didn't have a lot of knowledge on, is people would reach out to me like, hey, could you help me get this feature? Or could you do X, Y, Z? And I would just do it out the love.
Yeah.
Not realizing, girl, you should be getting points or you should be getting publishing.
Yeah.
I never thought about it like that. And that's when my lawyer was like, you got to get out of this thinking people are your friends.
Yeah.
They're not. They're coming to you because they know you can get it done in a service and they know you're not going to charge them. And the artist isn't going to either. So you need to figure out how this is beneficial for you.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, you're right. So recently I started doing that. So now it's like I'm with ASCAP. I'm really excited.
Okay.
Yeah. So I got a credit on YG's album, Bloodwalk with Lil Wayne. So
that's my shit. I'm not even gonna lie.
Been great.
Yeah.
I got 3 other records coming out at the end of the year. So I'm excited.
So you got a point on that record. So, like, are you able to get a point from just like kind of like bringing the record together? Like, how does that work with someone who's in your position? That's
basically what I'm getting publishing and points for.
Got it.
Is I was able to put it together.
Is that basically like A&Ring the song?
Yeah, I feel like it's basically an A&R.
Okay.
So yep.
Yeah.
I A&R'd that song. It was exciting. But it's a few others because I've done songs in the past like Wale Nike Boots. A lot of them are Wayne features.
That was early too.
Wale Nike Boots. Mac Miller and Wayne song. Who else? There was a Jadakiss Wayne record. Nip and Marsha Ambrosius.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's been quite a few. Oh, there was another Wale song too. It was 2 Wale songs. And that was another one, I believe, with Wayne as well. So it's been a lot of Wayne features.
Yeah. Where's that fine line that people might not see of doing it for the love and then knowing your worth of what to get out?
So this is a conversation that I haven't had that I want to have. Because unfortunately, in this business, I realize, and I'm honestly, this time from COVID, I'm trying to watch how I say the words, not to be disrespectful towards people who may be going through stuff. But COVID has really made me sit down and rethink a lot of like my business, how I was handling it, how I was negotiating certain things. And a lot of the times as a woman in this male-dominated industry, especially hip-hop, I was taking advantage of a lot of situations. There are times where people try to rewrite history, remove you from it, or or they don't want to give you the credit. I was having this conversation with my friend Hovain, who is at Cinematic Group with Johnny Shipes. And I was telling him, because we were like watching something where somebody totally omitted me from a situation.
Wow.
And I was explaining to him, I'm like, it does get very frustrating when you see things like this, because you want people, don't just give me my flowers when I'm standing here. It matters when I'm not in front of you, for you to also speak my flowers and to give me my just due. Like, then it's just fake. You know what I mean? So it's me dealing with a lot of that. But now I'm at a place, given with I have great friends, my lawyer, and certain things are making me realize, make sure that my business is set up, because at the end of the day, friendship is cool and that's great. But I have to think about my future, my children's future, and the legacy and what I'm leaving behind, and what I'm creating, creating that generational wealth for my family as well, and making sure my business is intact. Because at the end of the day, I can do so much for you, but what about me?
Exactly.
Yep.
So I know that you initially moved to LA from New York to work for Beats, right? I know that you were one of like
Jersey.
The first... Oh, Jersey. My fault. You initially moved from the tri-state area to LA.
Okay. Look at you now,
right? So I heard you say that you wanted to get paid for basically just being yourself. And you said that LA is kind of a place that really, really allows you to do that.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So what's something that you were able to monetize that you just couldn't believe that you were actually able to get paid for it? To where you were just like, oh my God, I cannot
much.
believe.
Let me see. When I was at Beats by Dre, I would which was incredible, and I love to Omar Johnson. Because he let me be me. I don't think there is another, I've never encountered, not in a corporate setting like that, that allows you to fully be you without pulling it back. I'm talking, I used to ride a bike in the office.
Yeah, wow.
I used to play football standing on top of desks and be as creative and fun, because talent used to come in. But it's just really Omar Johnson set that precedent for me to make me feel comfortable in that work setting. But I don't think there is anyone honestly like him. He was super incredible in just making that transition easy for me. But to fully answer your question, I don't think I can necessarily pinpoint one thing.
Yeah.
But my first real big activation out the country, Fast and Furious, a few years ago.
Yeah.
So they had me partner with Mercedes-Benz, and I'm still partnered with them to this day.
Nice.
And I think that's the biggest one, because when they let me make my custom, I'm allowed to make my custom G-Wagon, do all this stuff, then drop it off to me. And I'm like,
wow. Yeah.
And I don't have you be thinking you need the 5-6 million followers. Not at all.
Yeah.
But I think it's on a monetary value type, big luxury thing I was super excited about was that. Because at the end of the day, when I tell people get paid to be yourself, there are all these other people who are out here who are not, people of color. They get, to no offense, a lot of folks over there can be very fucking mediocre. Can I curse?
Of course. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
You can say
whatever you want. They can be on that side and be very fucking mediocre and get a $50K, $100K check to do what naturally comes to us. They take bits of our creative content, move over there, and they love it. So I'm like, why not? I felt at the time, which obviously times are different now, this is about 10 years ago, I noticed Marcus Troy was doing all these activations and getting paid. I said, why am I just getting free stuff and being excited to be invited? No, you should be creating synergies with me. We should be figuring out ways to work with one another and things of that nature. So I started to look at who my followers were, creating a one sheet, creating my media deck. And I started reaching out to companies I don't want you to invite me to your party for me to take pictures and be excited I'm here. And then you put me in a little corner or you put me with 10 other bloggers and you put us at the end of the carpet or you barely let us come in. If you're going to have me there, I don't want to be at the Beeline event. I want to be at the one that Rihanna's going to be at, Beyonce. Like, I deserve to be there as well.
Exactly.
So Los Angeles, being in California helped that, because it's so many different opportunities. And it's honestly been cool. I can't fully pinpoint one, but my life was to everything my family thought I couldn't happen. And I was just like, they were like, Karen, that doesn't make sense. I manifested it for myself. So I want to get paid to be myself. So but I do it very organic, where I don't want people to think I have a dollar sign on me. It has to be companies or products I would naturally use that make sense and become a part of my everyday life. Where at times, most people don't know, when I post a picture on Instagram, it's an ad. At times they don't even know, for a brand or something like that. I just want it to be a part of my lifestyle. But at the same time, for me, what I love from it is I want other people of color who are influencers or whatnot to inspire them and not make them jealous, where they go, okay, she did this. That means if she did it, I know I can do it. And I can step my game up and get this deal and do X, Y, Z. When now other people will come to me like, hey, Karen, somebody gave me this offer. I'll be like, no, tell them you want X, Y, Z. This is what your fee is. To that point, realize their value. Because a lot of times you don't even think about things like that. So a lot of people from industry will come to me. I'm like, listen, tell them no. You need to be paid this. This is what it needs to be. Create a writer. You are necessary talent, and they have to respect it. When you come with all of that, they're so shocked, because people of color, they were like, oh, okay. I'm like, here's my one sheet. Here's XYZ. This is minimum of what it is. We can do that. We can figure it out and go from there. But
that one sheet sounds like it's everything, because I even heard you speak on that in a previous interview, to where basically you said that you would like what you just said now, like you would send your one sheet out to these different like organizations, and they would basically pay for your flights and pay for your your trips and everything. You seem like you've always been like you're a very, very savvy like business person. Where does your business acumen come from?
I will give all graces to my family. I come from a family of business owners. That's what they do, and it's part of it's in my bloodline. I feel like too, just my heritage and my culture. When you are Haitian, it's just like I don't even want to say they struggled. They made it happen for them. They came to this country. It wasn't about, my family was adamant of not being on the system and not taking advantage, but like using those advantages, or using the advantages that were given to quote unquote Americans. They saw it as like, I'm happy to be here. I'm not going to take, whatever opportunities from somebody else who may really need it. I'm going to just work super hard, make it happen. If I need it, I'll circle back. But that's really where it came from. It's just like my mom started off as a nurse, my dad too as a taxi driver, to him owning his own car service, to my mom doing the same thing, being able to now retire in her home. So it's just something that's instilled in us.
That not having to be greedy, and just being obviously humble and working hard to get.
Like when people come to this country as West Indian, like when they come to this country, they do not play. Like my life, I feel like, was planned out for me before I was born. Even for me to have the drastic life change, my dad is not happy, because he wanted doctors, lawyers, and detectives in his family. So he has two of the three. And there's me. And I'm like, technically, he kind of gets it, but it's like he doesn't get it, where it's just like, I'm happy for you. And he'd be like, she does something on the internet. And I'm like, okay, I gotta describe it. But my mom gets it. She's happy, but it's honestly my family, man. I wholeheartedly, I love them for working hard and for creating so many sacrifices so I can have a life that I'm comfortable with. They weren't happy at first, but then they allowed me to live my life and do my thing, because a lot of families do not allow that.
Is it a sense of like seeing you happy too, that they felt comfortable? Then it was like, okay, we know that she's fine. She's doing what she wants to do. We got to accept it.
With my mom more than anything, she came to terms with it, and she became happy when she saw me happy, and she saw what it was doing to me. My dad, the verdict is still out, because he is very old school, and it's like he needs a term to put to it. Like he needs a title. He needs, because he looks, success to him is equated in a different way. It's a college graduate. You do life the way society used to teach you. Elementary, high school, elementary, middle school, high school, college, grad school, college, marriage, get pregnant, grad school, some career, all your debt is gone. All of a sudden you live happily ever after. That's not the life that I saw for myself. Not in that particular order. And that's hard for him to see, especially when you have, sons who have done it. Now you have to think, okay, it's daddy's little girl. She's going to do it the way I want. And it didn't happen. So
it seems like a lot of families to America, like you said, like they don't play, because a lot of business owners are people who aren't from the United States, and then this is like a common and this is a common thing in like the African American community too, because we'll fight over certain neighborhoods and certain territories, but we don't own like none of it. But a lot of those times, people who own businesses in those neighborhoods are Asian people, are people of Middle Eastern descent, people, Haitians, Jamaicans. Those are the business owners, but that's because they have a different mentality. Like they come here and they're not playing, and they're working hard. And I think that sometimes people in our community, we kind of take being in America for granted. I just wanted to touch on that.
Our system of like just being in Haiti is so different. Where it's just like certain things you may take advantage of here. It's like you don't even think about indoor plumbing. Shoes. You see that marker that you have there, being able to drink your coffee and like have that iPad and iPhone. It's just like we take advantage. Like sometimes we don't even think about that.
1,000%.
And it's just like, no, it's common to open your fridge and have like, you'd be like, oh, damn, I have nothing to eat or nothing to wear. We know we realistically do. In Haiti at times, people don't. You know what I mean? So when you come here, they saw it as a chance at life, a chance at actually succeeding. It goes back to the quote unquote, remember, American dream.
Exactly.
It's a little bit different now. Folks are definitely trying to get up out of here, but back then it's just like this was the American dream.
Is it a sense of being like, also we tend to be desensitized to stuff like that too? You know what I mean? Where it's like we get so spoiled of the norm, like this is just what we know. A lot of people pretend to not see what's going on in other countries or not wanting to think about it, Well,
a lot of people just aren't informed. Because
the misinformation and not informed, exactly. Or not wanting to be informed too, of not wanting to learn that.
I definitely want to circle back to all the things that you've done in Haiti. But just to, get back to the music industry stuff. So we know how artists make money for the most part, with, tours, obviously COVID. So people aren't able to tour right now, but we know that artists are able to make money off of shows, merch, licensing deals, and everything. Obviously you've grown into, the mogul that you are now, but how does someone like Karen Civil early on in the game, like make money from connecting the dots? Were you considered like an independent contractor? Are these companies and artists like paying you salary, or is it more of like you eat what you kill type of thing?
My first person business and everything early was Wayne. And they were like, hey, can you send us your invoice in W-9? I was like, what's that? And I had to really do my research and be like, okay, Karen, you're a real business. You have to set it up correctly. So I had to get a business manager who set up my LLC, who explained like I need a business account and all the things that come with it, and really set myself up where now, you know, if I am hired as certain things, I was hired as a contractor, but then my business manager got me a lawyer who then started creating these contracts and setting them up like, okay, what services do you provide? How do you want to do it? And XYZ, where it's like, I don't do month to month basis with people. It's at least a 3, 6 to a year minimum.
Got it.
How those are done, how it's projected and pushed out. There are other people who may be like, hey, we want to have you host this or do XYZ. That's, you know, those are little one-offs.
Yeah.
So starting off, it was a lot of things where I was doing things for free just to put myself out there, let people know me, but it made sense to my brand.
Yeah.
Where I was okay with not being paid. But then when I started to get into a place of like my value was where it needed to be, my platform, the metrics, and it was doing great and stuff like that, that's when I'm like, okay, now I want to start charging. And the first few times you kind of feel bad. You're like,
yeah.
Is this okay?
Right.
And then I had to realize, I was like, why am I being all low in my Janet voice, like all monotone, whispering, asking for like, girl, you know, like really know your worth. Like really tell them like, this is what it is. Don't feel ashamed. Like, this is what you're asking for. And after a while, it's like, what's my rate? What's your rate? How much money? And that's what started working for me, because at first I was going into situations asking for like $500. Then when I started asking companies like, hey, what's your rate? They're like, oh, we have $5K. I'm like, oh, yes. Yeah. Yes, I do want that.
Exactly.
So it honestly took me, it of trial and error and learning. But the most important thing for me is when I started, I got that the accountant, my business manager, and my lawyer. Those are really 3 things I'm glad that I saved and put money into.
Yeah.
And it's never a waste, because taxes, from everything in between, from contracts to making sure people don't play with you, it's just like all of that is there.
Yeah. I seen an interview of yours where you were basically talking about making moves for the long term. Well, the importance of making moves for the long term rather than the short term goal. And you said, I'm never going to step over $1 to pick up a nickel. And I was like, damn, that's a bar right there. So you've always, aligned yourself with what seems to be very authentic artists and very, authentic people. Can you go into further detail on that quote and speak on the importance of moving with integrity?
I'll even give you a reference. Every time I stopped to pick up a nickel, it has come back in my face where it just never made sense. And those are usually the people who come out their way and say something negative about me on social media, is because they live in a very microwavable age, because they'll see the success and they'll do a lot of comparing. They'll see the success and the benchmarks would say like a Nipsey Hussle or YG or Jeezy. And they're like, oh, she can do that for me too.
Yeah.
Where it's like they hire you and they're like, okay, put me on the cover of XXL in a week.
And
that's not the way it works.
Yeah.
Like things take, they take months. That's why I tell people it's either 3, 6, or 9. 3, 6, or like a year or more plus. It takes time to develop. So for me, that nickel at times can be, that's wasted time. That's my energy.
Right.
That's just, it's unnecessary. It's just like unnecessary headache, because you think, oh, okay, I got this, but what comes with it? It's just so much headache. And I don't want to give up my integrity, who I am. I don't want to align with everything and everyone.
Yeah.
So to me, it's just, now I look at certain situations. I'm like, does it make sense for me? Do I see myself being a part of this? Is it something that I would use, listen, watch, or be a part of? So these are questions that I ask myself, because at the end of the day, it's like a lot of the relationships I have them for a very long time because they were the dollar.
Yeah.
And that's really what it's about.
How do you deal with, people and situations that happen in the industry that to where something happens that may not align with like your values and your morals? Like, how do you deal with those type of
I've dealt with it a lot with people who do certain things. And as much as I loved when people was like, oh, you're like the Olivia Pope of hip hop. I'm like, no, I don't want to fix everything. I don't want to be a fixer. I don't want you to come to me when it's broken. That's not, I don't want broken to be synonymous with Black women, especially with myself.
Facts.
So it's unfortunate, but now I'm in a better situation where I've kind of cleared my space of companies, of people that necessarily I'm okay on. Like, I wish you the best. I mean, without saying it, you can kind of feel the change. I wish you the best. I wish your project, everything else you're doing, but I have to be over here because where I'm growing and going the alignment doesn't match. Exactly. And people understand that. It's just, you know, everything and everyone is not for you.
Yeah,
exactly.
How do you balance that too, as far as when you see something that's not going right, or that you feel someone's trying to compromise my integrity to get something out of me, and not like going public way that you see these days, and kind of handling it behind the scenes and having a conversation? Is that sometimes tough for you, or are you able to find that of like, all right, I know how to handle this?
Repeat it from the beginning one more time. I'm sorry.
As far as like, if you see something happening that someone's or a company's trying to compromise your integrity or trying to get you to do something you don't want to, and instead of obviously this is the day of calling someone out, going public, going nuts, and kind of being crazy. With you, is it easier to kind of handle stuff behind the scenes and make that?
Oh, I'm big on handling behind the scenes. I hate a public display and outcry. It's just like, let's handle it behind the scenes. And sometimes if a company comes to me and wants me to do something, here's my favorite word. Ready? It's a full sentence. No.
Exactly.
And if you feel like that's too hard, I just say, I'm good.
Yeah.
Period. And they're like, what? I'm like, oh, I'm sorry. Was that too urban for you? No. I'm like, nope.
When you make business decisions, do you do it more from a logical standpoint, or are you more intuitive?
A business standpoint, I don't want to be one of those like flower childs right now. But now I'm going off like energies when I walk into a room, like off of a conference, off of a call. Like you can feel people's energy and what they're giving you. And that's what I'm gonna give back. So that's the place that I'm in now. It's like energy, how you see me, how you greet me, how you talk to me. All those little things, watching years of Monk on USA have taught me to pick up on so many little traits of people. If you look me in my eye, how you shake my hand, how you value me as like a woman. Sometimes, you know, people come into a situation thinking, oh, if I pretend I like her, she'll do X, Y, Z for me. No, I have a man. I just don't post him. So no, thank you. I'm good in that department. But now I'm just off. I don't want to be one of those girls that like energy and vibes. It sounds generic.
That's real though. Like the world moves and people move off energy. Yeah.
Given with everything that we have been dealing with in 2020, which feels like it's in dog years, it's pretty much energy. I've been so good with saying, I'm cool, I'm gonna sit this out, because energy of certain business, people, situations, environments are not for me.
Yeah.
That's the greatest thing about growing as an individual. Everything, and I'm gonna keep saying that through this whole conversation, everything and everyone is not for you.
Exactly.
Is that I want to touch on that 3 month, 6 month, year thing. I love that you do that, because you see a lot of people that are working, you know, whether for like one project, a week, 2 weeks, or a month on something short. Does that time frame to that 3 month, 6 month, year, does that allow you also to put that love into it? Like, look, I got to kind of grow into this too, get more of an emotional connection into a project. And it's hard to do that for a week, for 2 weeks, for a month of doing some sort of one-off thing that's way shorter than that.
To me, it's just, I can't, because I know what people want and what they're expecting from me. They come into and they're like, oh, she's going to quote unquote get me lit. It takes time to do that. I have to have the conversations, put you in situations, because it's not me just, it's me creating synergies, new relationships for you, new opportunities that take time. I can't come into it rushing, saying, hey, here. Say, for instance, I was working with Nipsey for like 6 years. That takes time he just got a Grammy this year.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like, it takes time. So that's what I like to tell people. I'm like, if you want to do the 3 month, that's me starting it, getting you in a place, and then you can go. Mm-hmm. So usually for 3 months, I try to do that with, those are the people who usually want like playlisting or something, you know, they just need help entering the business or entering certain situations. I don't take many people on in that space. It's somebody I really have to respect. Like right now, I'm working with Winner's Circle. And the CEO is Germ, who I've met previously through, he was one of Nipsey's friends, you know, back in the day, he used to be with J. Cole. And to see his growth and to now see he has a label, he has a joint venture with RCA, and now he has, you know, he's pushing the drill culture in Brooklyn forward with, you know, Sleepy Hollow and Chef G. That feels good to work with them because I know what that is, being a Brooklyn girl, like that feels good and they get it. And it's like, they're not rushing me. They understand. And it's like, they have patience. Sometimes some people are so hungry, unfortunately, and they're looking at social media and they see certain things and they're looking at your success as well. They're like, girl, you know, clock watchers.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's not usually it, but that 3, 6 and yearly base really helps you attain it. It really helps you set like pinpoints and growth and really set that growth up for yourself.
Yeah.
And really hold yourself accountable. It's important. I do it in business and with life.
Yeah.
So from the 3 month is just, those are quick, those are quick things that I have for myself that I want to get, goals that I want to get done. Like, okay, in 3 months, what do I plan on doing? It could be something like ride 40 miles in one day. That's a personal goal. Make sure that I am, you know, talking to God at least 4 times a week. Then on a business level, it could be scale your business by this much.
Yeah.
Save this much. Hire this or do XYZ, grow in this area. So those are the things that I give myself. And then I have a board in my room. So I have a board in my room that comes down in front of the TV, which is really cool because that's the first thing I want to see and last thing I want to see when I go to sleep is my visions and my dreams that I want to bring reality instead of reality TV.
Yeah, these things definitely take time. And like you said, it applies to life as well, because even, you know, obviously you have a lot of aspiring artists and then they'll move to these cities like, you know, New York, Atlanta, LA. This happens in LA a lot to where someone will move to LA and then they think that, oh man, I'm about to be on it in the next 6 months. You know what I mean? Like literally everyone thought that. Like I thought that, you know what I mean? Like, so, but then like,
I'm glad you're honest.
Yeah, exactly. But when you get out there, you're like, oh shit, like, hold up, I got to pay rent every month. Like this is just like like, okay, like I have to go meet people. I have to actually, like, you know, like you're not just going to move to LA and then boom, like, you know, like you just have a career. Yeah.
No, when you come to LA, I tell people like when I came to LA, it's great. You should you should have a core. If you don't, you can drown very quickly because you can get caught up in the hype. The first year is always the hardest.
Yeah.
I didn't necessarily have a core. I had a friend who I was just kind of winging it. She let me sleep on her couch. And there are certain people who try to make fun of me and try to belittle me like, oh, she's just sleeping on my friend's couch. Cool. I got the career and the position you didn't. I'm not trying to come out just because I got this position and this money doesn't mean the first thing I get to LA, I need to change my car. I need to go get a big house.
Right.
I don't know if this is going to work. So I'm cool with sleeping on somebody's couch, driving my Nissan Z and figuring what this is for the first year and being comfortable and then figuring out where I want to live, what I want to get next and XYZ. As long as you're doing it on your time and you don't let this environment and just the culture of being in Los Angeles, like speed it up, you'll be okay.
Yeah.
Because it'll be times people come out here and it's just like, you lose it very quickly because everyone is so open and laid back where it's like, you came out here to dance, now you doing coke at a celebrity's house in the bathroom, just hanging out.
Exactly.
Right?
Word.
Yeah, it's just, you'll lose yourself very quickly if you don't know who you are.
Yeah.
So there's a song I used to listen to a lot. I forget the gentleman's name. And it's called Hollywood's Not America.
Okay.
And that I ingrained in my head, because he basically was saying, like, Mary Jane, put your blue jeans back on. Yeah. Basically, girl, put your outfit back on. Hollywood is not America. You know what you can remember what you came here for. Remember what you came to do. Remember your job and everything else, because it is a very laid back place to be, where you see the air, you're invited to the functions, and you start to get comfortable. But yeah.
You've spoken on, being an introverted person. I've always been naturally introverted myself growing up, even though I feel like I've outgrown that over the years. But like, what advice can you give to introverted people who want to have success in an industry that requires you to be social and build relationships?
Okay, so advice I give to introverted people, to the person watching this. Hi, my name is Karen. I'm an introvert. B, you want to introduce yourself?
Hey, what's up? My name is MB. I'm an introvert.
Okay, look, we're two introverts having a conversation on a public platform where people are watching this, we're engaging, where just you have to necessarily, like, if you really want this and it's something that you want, I like a lot of things I equate back to, like, Michael Jordan, fourth quarter. And it's like, you have to fully show up for yourself. I am, after I get off of this, I'm gonna go back to being quiet, taking off my glasses, being all, myself, like Nerd Squad, whatever. But when I get on here, I'm gonna give you, because the energy you guys are giving me, I'm happy to be here and everything else. Show up for yourself. That's really what's important, is like, you have this one life, given with everything that's happening in the world and XYZ. I'm showing up for myself. I'm not missing any opportunity for my greatness. And that's really what's important. If you care about your life and you want to be great and not good and not live in a mediocre society with America's president, you're going to show up and be great. Because I want to look at myself, not even people, I want to look at myself the way people looked at Michael Jordan when he hit that bucket. When LeBron brings home the trophy, when Beyonce practices for 6 months for a 10-minute performance, they are showing up for themselves. That's great. I'm doing the same thing for myself every single day. And even referencing someone like Chad Boseman, not to just make it all celebrity driven, but look at how he showed up for himself to the day that he died. Like, that is important. And I know at times people may think this showing up for myself can be exhausting, but what do you have to lose? You want the success. You want the greatness. Show up for yourself.
I love that Michael Jordan analogy too, because that's how, both of us kind of look at life and situations. I love it. Kobe Bryant is like my idol just off of his mentality alone. And then, everyone knows about that Mamba mentality, but you don't have to be, some crazy athlete to apply that mentality
every day.
Like you said, you just have to just show up, even if you don't feel like doing it. Like, even if you, have the discipline to where it's like, okay, like, I'm going to work out every single day. You have to push through that, like, inner voice that's kind of, might be doubting you a little bit. And then you just have to just rise to the occasion. So I definitely love that. I know you've written 2 books, Be You and Live Civil, tools for unlocking your potential, and Civil Obedience, how to win in business and life. I definitely got to check out those books, because just off of the titles alone, that's definitely up my alley. What are some of your favorite books that you have read that have inspired you and that have enlightened you?
Ooh, let me get them for you.
Let's do it.
Visuals coming.
All right, I'm gonna just bring 4 right now. I'm I've shared this story before, but Nipsey is the reason I have a bookcase in my house.
There you go.
So in his studio, he had a bookcase before he put in a television, and it was like in the waiting area. And I'm like, Nip, the TV coming? He's like, get a book.
Yeah.
And I went, and I was like, no, I have books at home. He was like, nah, Karen. Books.
Like these books.
Exactly.
So then I took one. I took one from there, and it's honestly just me really getting into reading is the company that I keep. Because when I would lose him in the airport, you would find him at the bookstore.
That's crazy.
If you lose him in the studio, you're like, where he's at? He's listening to an audio book.
Yeah.
And that really made me realize I went I went that day and got me a black bookcase from IKEA. And since then, it's just like between Charlemagne, we're in an official book club together because he was sending pictures of books that he got. And he'd be like, Karen, you need this. Another person was Charlemagne, Nipsey, and Sycamore. He's not I forget his correct title now. It's not A&R anymore. It's something more, grand. But he's another one too that was telling me, pouring into me and telling me the books that I should get. So first one is The Five Love Languages.
There you go.
Obviously, how to communicate, talk to people, and how things are interpreted and things like that.
That's important.
So you be less selfish. With how you communicate in love. This one was from Sycamore, the life-changing magic of tidying up. Just orchestrating and getting your life better together from your home, your outlook to everything. Obviously, Contagious.
Where he got that $100 idea from.
The $100 idea, and so great. This was Nip's copy.
Oh, that's fire.
Yeah.
That's fire. Yeah.
The book that he read that helped, which I end up
helping him put together.
Using to borrow. And this was great because I got, before this came out with Mark Echo on Label Me, if you don't have this from a marketing, branding, and just life standpoint on selling you without selling out, Mark Echo is it. I absolutely love him. He is the greatest. I got to work with him on the release of this, but he sent it to me early. I live by this book. And it's because he is a man who is able to scale so large, but not lose his identity and who he is as an individual. And it's been so incredible. This man created from Complex Con to Complex to, G-Unit clothing to just all the different things that have been out there. And it's just like, he's still himself. He still loves his children, his dog. And it's just like, he didn't have to sell out.
He didn't lose himself in the journey.
Exactly.
At all.
No, that's dope. Those are definitely, those definitely sound like great books. A book that I'm actually in the middle of that I feel that is just completely changing, it's just changing me from the inside. It's a book that Nipsey, I guess, always championed a lot. I read an interview that Lauren London did, and she was basically saying that one of the last gifts that she gave that Nip gave her was this book called Power versus Force by Dr. David Hawkins. And then so right off that alone, I was like, all right, I got to get that ASAP. And I'm literally in the middle of it now. And then it really just helps you elevate your consciousness, and then you start seeing the behaviors of other people on a deeper level, and then everything starts to make sense, and then you become a lot less judgmental. So it's dope. But yes,
I'm gonna get that. So we can do trade notes back and forth and discuss. Because now I'm creating a book group. I'm creating a book group with you.
I'm all in. I'm all in on that. So speaking of the great Nipsey Hussle, man, legit, I'm not even just saying this, all my friends know he's been one of my favorite rappers
forever,
if not my favorite rapper, of all time. I remember the day he unfortunately passed, this guy right here called me. I was asleep and he was like, yo, you're not going to believe this. And I couldn't believe it. When I was living in LA, I went to this meet and greet that him and Dom Kennedy did or had in 2012 at Nip's store. But this was before it was even the Marathon store. It was when it was just Sloss and Tees. And at that time, I'd have a car. Me and my boy, we hopped on the city bus. We was living in Playa Vista. We took the 108. It was either the 108 or the 110. We took it straight up to his store. This was Sloss and Tees before it was even the Marathon store. And then I met him. I shook his hand. I had a Muhammad Ali a phone case, and he signed it, and he was like, yo, I fuck with that. And I was like, yeah, that's what's up. and then I seen him again in 2016 because I was working for this company in Santa Monica. I was at the gym I was at the 24-hour fitness on 29th and Ocean Park in Santa Monica because the job that I was working for was right across the street. And this was
what year was this?
This was 2016.
Okay.
Yeah, 2016, and then it was at 8 in the morning, and then there wasn't too many people in the gym, but I was in the weight room, and then you know how you have the mirror and you could just see everyone who's in the room. Nip walks in, and I'm like, what the fuck? I was tripping for a second, and then he like looks at me too, just because like we're like the only like two black dudes like in the room, like so because it's like older like white people, whatever. And I was like, what the fuck? Are you serious right now? And then, but I'm not the type to if I see someone like that I recognize, like I'm gonna let him do his thing, like I'm gonna give him his space. And he was like, on the bench, he was hitting the 45s by himself. And I was like, all right, like as soon as he gets up, like I'm about to go say something because I listen to this dude too much to not say something to him. And then like I did like some super weird fan creep shit to where like I like snuck a picture of him like in the mirror. Like I actually still got the picture because I knew my homies weren't gonna believe me that I was in the gym with Nipsey Hussle.
That was the only way we would believe him, Karen. I promise you.
Anyways, he gets up and then he just jets out, and I'm like, fuck, where'd he go? Like I'm like, yo, I gotta find him. Like I gotta shake his hand. Like I listened to this dude too much. And then like he just disappeared, and I was like, fuck. And then after he passed, I was like looking back at that moment, I was like, man, I should have just went up to him and just shook his hand and just let him know that, bro, like your music has got me through so much. Like I got the Marathon Continues like tatted on the back of my leg because I just love that mindset. Like, but basically, I say all that to ask, like, what was the relationship between you and Nip like? I know that you guys have done like a lot of legendary things together. You just spoke on, how, he would. How he's the reason that you actually, got a bookcase. What value did he add to your life?
Nipsey added value to just not my life, just to everyone's life. Like it's hard to fully explain because Nipsey is not just like a person, just a normal person. He's like a feeling. He's like you can feel him when he comes into a room, like his presence. He was higher than life. And that's because it goes back to how you were raised. And just his father to his brother and sister, and just like seeing them and seeing their work ethic and who they are as individuals. Like you would think he was one thing, like when I met him, I'm like, okay, he's going to be super ignorant, super this, XYZ, intelligent. I'm talking, he's articulate. He's engaging in conversations where it's like, he'll be like, I was going to slap fire out him, but I'm about to do this call with Jonah Berger. And it's like, okay, he is somebody who's very multifaceted. I loved his energy. So many people just wanted to be around him. And I'll never forget, this is what set the tone. This was during South by Southwest. We went to a dinner. It was him, me. It was like 8 people. Matt Mullenweg, the CEO of, I think it's like WordPress or Tumblr. I think it was like WordPress. And WordPress or Tumblr, and Childish Gambino. It was probably like 8 of us at this dinner. They didn't invite many people. I'm not even sure why they asked me to come. And I'm like, I think this makes sense. If Nipsey is here, it was WordPress. And when we get there, Matt is engaging in conversation with Nip. And I think he was so astonished himself because unfortunately at times society and people write you off. They look at you and they look at you as a stereotype. They think a certain thing. And the many things I've loved, but this is one of the many reasons I love Nip, is this man right here. Is he changed the structure of what you thought and what you saw. It's like, mind your business, mind your manners, respect me as a man and individual first. And I love that about him. Like he didn't hold his tongue. He didn't deal with the disrespect. Like he was a man. He's a man of honor. And that in itself is just like, but Nipsey was one to pour into you, to educate you, to make you better, there's no one he left in this world. And I can say this, like, there's no one he left in this world worse than how he met them. He pours into you and he makes you better. He like really, you go out and you be successful. Everyone who has worked with him is all successful, all doing incredible things. And that's really what it's about. You don't meet somebody like that who says they're a leader and actually leads their team to greatness, their whole team, not just themselves.
Yeah. He had that force too that you're so drawn to. You know, it's one of those things where he has that it quality that you listen to him when he speaks, you watch him when he moves, you follow what he's doing, and he has that sense of confidence too of everything that he did, and it came off of all aspects of his life, all aspects of his businesses. Everything that he did with confidence. He believed in himself. He believed in the team that he had around him too. And that's something that's, it's still so rare though to find that.
Yeah. And that's what makes him more special and make me realize everybody is not for me. Because when you meet an individual like that, you don't want to partake in everybody. So I've been fortunate to work with two incredible people. Wayne, who is the same way. He pours into you. You have an idea, a business, you want to do something. Let me help you attain that. Let me help you get to that place. Him and Mac Main are incredible. How can you grow? How can you scale and be wherever you need to be? My first book came out through Cash Money Publications.
Wow.
You understand? It's just like that deal came out through them.
Yeah.
And opportunities for me to grow in my career. All of it is a test to me working with Wayne and him giving me a chance first, because they could have went with a larger company to do social media. Here I am, a girl from New Jersey, doing it from her house.
Yeah.
I'm going to take a chance on her.
Yeah.
And that's the great thing about both of them is like, I don't get to meet people like that, and I don't take it for granted.
Yeah.
So at all. It's like when you meet those wonderful people in your life, you appreciate it, because now it's not about quantity, it's about quality of just life.
Exactly.
And it's very rare having lifelong friends and family in this business, in this industry too. I feel
yes.
Yeah.
Very.
So Karen, just to touch on all the wonderful things that you've done in your country of Haiti. I know that you've done like a lot of philanthropy work. You've built the playground there. You've renovated a school, and I believe they rename the school after you or after like your business.
Yeah,
they did. Okay.
Live Civil School, Live Civil Playground. We also have a computer lab.
That's fine.
I haven't been back in a few years. I worked with another company. I worked with another organization this year to help with COVID relief and bringing water in certain areas. We raised over $100,000 on social media off of a tweet.
Wow.
So I'm happy just to give back to a country that has given I feel like my family so much.
Yeah.
And it makes sense to, utilize the opportunities I have here to help, to help people who are less fortunate. Yeah. But even just give them a chance at at quality of life and just having certain things change and seeing life outside of the bubble.
Yeah.
Because certain people were like, "Why are you building a playground for them?" Because I appreciate the power of play. Yeah. I understand the importance. To you, it may not be important, but when life is effed up around you and these kids can go sit and swing and laugh and have fun and enjoy themselves, why not let them have that moment? Yeah. At the same time, I then eventually did the school too, to help make sure that they have a secure place to educate and learn. And then what are they called? I'm sorry, I'm train of thought.
You're good.
What is it? The adoption place?
Oh, like an orphanage?
Like an orphanage. I did a computer lab there because, I know they may not necessarily have family, but you are a family and you connect with people online so you can engage, have conversation, and learn the knowledge of the world and just not necessarily what they may be giving you in textbooks.
Yeah.
Moments like that, those are just important to me. I just feel like given with my platform and what I have, I feel like it's just naturally, it's the thing to do.
Yeah.
Just as an individual, it's the thing to do. You have so much. Why not? The world has blessed you. Why not bless the world?
Yeah. I've always been intrigued with Haiti, and always had a great amount of respect for Haiti, just off of the fact that it was like the most successful slave revolt. And I feel like not even just me. I think that it's clear that the rest of the world kind of resented Haiti for that. Obviously, like the French and like the U.S. is kind of like did things.
They did. Because you know why?
Why?
Pause it. You know why?
Why?
First, if you want to just claim it, Black independence.
Of course.
They don't want Black folks. Nobody. They're always going to resent Black people for being free.
Yeah.
So that's really, if you want to bottom line it, that's what it is. People owe us so much money, but that's really what it is. Nobody wants us to be free.
Yeah. And I think that's, obvious, to be honest, but off that alone, that just says a lot about the Haitian people, the fact that they're able to overcome that. But, obviously you've done a lot of work in Haiti, but what do you think that it would take to get Haiti, ultimately to where it should be? Because obviously it's going to take a lot of work, but, what do you think?
I wouldn't even know where to start, because it's at times where you feel like you're moving forward, it's 5 steps back, but I'm not going to give up on the country. We need better leaders in place. It gets to a point where it's just because so many people have not had. So when money and certain things come, their integrity goes. And, their commitment to the country goes, because now they start to get selfish and they have a commitment for self. And I think once we have proper people in place on a government level where they respect the people who are in the country and the things that need to be done, we'll be okay. And people need to pay us back.
No, most definitely.
Starts at the top.
Bitches better have our money.
Exactly.
That's pretty much that.
I love it. Seriously though. But so Karen, obviously, you do a lot. You're a brand, strategist, digital marketing specialist, author, just overall creator. Besides your philanthropy work, because I assume that gives you the most gratification. What is it in the industry that you do that brings you the most joy?
Being creative. If I know you got a project coming out, it's this one project that's coming out in a couple of weeks, I'm really excited about. That's what it like.
Can you speak on it?
What was that thing that was like, it gets the blood going, it gets the people going. It gets me super excited with this one particular one. It's just like I get excited because I know I'm good at this. Excuse me, I'm great at this. And this is my thing where I just yes, I feel like I turn into Kobe or MJ where it's yes, I know I'm about to dunk, I'm going to score, I'm bringing the trophy home. So it's honestly just me being creative, me being able to create moments that may create a trend online, but talked about offline. Or for instance, 2 moments when I was at Beats by Dre, 2 moments that were amazing for me was when we launched Lil Wayne's headphone. And with that, I saved the company $10 million because MTV wanted us to do advertising. I'm like, I don't want to advertise and be in a commercial. Nah, they wouldn't tell us who the host was. They wouldn't tell us anything. They wouldn't give us anything so we create content. They wanted to do it for us. But the gentleman who came to the meeting, he had no swag. So I don't think you can take my product and make it cool. And you won't tell me who's going to be there, who's performing. I don't know where you're going to put it, what you're going to do with it, but we're supposed to trust you with 10 million? No.
Exactly.
So this is where the thinking comes in reference to me is the thinking comes in is let me figure out who's performing. That's it. And let's go through them because I'm not going through MTV since they're not understanding what we're trying to do. Lo and behold, Young Money's performing. And then come to find out with the relationship I had, Kevin Hart is hosting. Done. So that was how we launched Lil Wayne's headphone, is made him a killer playlist. He put the headphones on through the whole show. So go look at MTV Awards / Lil Wayne.
I remember
every picture that comes up. He won the award, went on stage with his headphones. Through the show, they kept panning the camera on him. And he's
in his own world.
He wasn't paying attention. And it was trending Lil Wayne headphones.
Wow. That was you.
Yeah, so it was like amazing. Then another thing was during All-Star Weekend. So I like to create synergies with talent that I may work with on the outside with companies I work with to create relationships, not for myself, but for them as well. So when Wayne got that headphone deal, here we go. So it's like, it makes sense. I get to still work with him in a capacity. He's getting extra money, extra looks, and it's easier. So it's just, it was All-Star when it was in Orlando, I believe.
Okay.
Yeah, when it was in Orlando a few years ago, we had the $1 million headphone. And they were like, Karen, we got to figure this out. We were thinking of giving it to Mary J. I'm like, that's cool. I said, look at all them people sitting courtside.
Yeah.
This is when, not Travis Scott, the other Travis McCoy from Gym Class Heroes was big. Yeah. Wayne, Drake. I was like, we were in a suite upstairs. I said, look at everybody down there.
Yeah.
And like, we had the headphones. They're like, yo, we got to figure something out. And Beats was tied to Interscope. So Mary, I forget what Mary did. I don't know if she did the halftime. She did something. So when somebody from the label came back upstairs, I was like, give me your pass. Give me your pass.
Yeah.
I took the pass because I get so excited. Like a kid in a candy store, like when my ideas come, and I was like, give me your pass. And I went with the security who had the headphone, and I went downstairs, and I just was like talking to people. I was like, hey, Travis. Hey, Drake, giving hugs. And I was like, hey, Wayne, right. I got a headphone for you. Yeah. And he was like, what are these? I said, oh, they're Graf Diamonds, $1 million headphone. And guess what? They matched his teeth. So he wore them during the game. Yeah. And the best image we got from it was at the time Kevin Durant just signed a Skull Candy deal. Mm-hmm. And he was one of the biggest athletes. And we really wanted to get him. He scored and he ended up like getting excited in front of Wayne. And they did this, like, they both jumped up and bumped each other. Yeah. But Wayne had the headphone on. And that was the image that went everywhere. So
those headphones.
That in itself, I was like, it was just so many creative moments. Like, I would say my creative juices really got flowing when I was at Beats. They allowed me to do so many different things, but that's when I realized life was bigger than music. But all these things collectively all come together because athletes want to be musicians. Musicians want to be athletes.
Exactly.
Entertainers want to be singers. Everybody wants to cross and do other things.
Yep.
So I realized from a creative space, I could bring them all together and we could figure out synergies and bring them all in one place and not create these segregated events where it's like, okay, let's do a sports event. Let's do a music event. Let's just be Beats. Mm-hmm, let's just be great and bring all these people together. So that's what gets me creatively going, is knowing that the Rolodex I have, it makes sense where you create a moment that is just lifestyle and culture. When you think about, I use this reference a lot. Think back to when you were in the lunch table, like when you went to the cafeteria, there were groups and they were like the jocks, the cool kids, the goths, like whoever else.
Yep.
I like to tell people when I walk into that cafeteria, whoever it is, I can sit at any table.
Yeah,
you can fit anywhere. And it's just like, that's pretty much how I saw things. Is like, I can build a relationship with everyone here.
Yep.
And that's how I creatively think about things. It's like, what table would it go? How can we collectively bring everyone together to enjoy this product or whatever it is? So that's where I'm at, where it's like, there's no color lines in anything I do. So when I worked with like Hillary Clinton and that campaign and certain things, people were like, why are you, there was something else like I did with her, which was she sent out a tweet, was like, if you register to vote, get a chance to meet Pusha T. He was another one who I was working with, and she got so much backlash from that. And I'm like, listen, trust me, it's gonna work. Mm-hmm. Do you know over 30,000 young adults registered to vote off of that tweet?
Yeah. Wow.
So I'm like, how is this a fail? Like, they were like, oh my God, that was one of her best tweets.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, of course, because whether you understand it or not, like the fans get it. And it's like, stop thinking, oh, I can't align with this person, or I can't do this, I can't do that. If it really makes sense and really understanding the power of the people.
Yeah. Have you ever seen the movie Brown Sugar?
Yeah.
Yeah, you remind me of what Sanaa Lathan's character would have grown into.
Oh, really? I've never heard that.
Yeah, because you know, like in the movie, like obviously it's a movie about hip hop, but she starts off on the East Coast. She gets this job, working in LA, like writing for Double XL, and then she like, you know what I mean, like continues to grow and prosper in her career. So
I like that though.
yeah, that's like one of my favorite movies. But yeah, so someone that's trying to break into the industry that has like a lot of different ambitions. Like you just said, like ball players, they want to be rappers. Rappers want to be ball players. You know, like you know, artists want to do, you know, different type of things. Do you think that it's important to establish yourself in one lane first and then branch off?
Oh yes. Think of it like I tell people a lot of things are like a tree.
Yeah.
We see it when it's finished and it's developed.
Yeah.
You got to create that. You got to create that foundation, that root.
Yeah.
And that's the first thing. When I started with my website, KarenCivil.com. And from there, able to grow and do other things. But I tell people it's always very important to create a root, a foundation, and from there, something that will allow other doors to open for you. Mm-hmm. So pick what that is, because people come in off the bat, they have all the slashes. I do hair, I cut clothes, I do this. I'm like, okay, so are you a creative? Think of a better title on how you want to do it. Reestablish how you want to brand yourself and your name and certain things. But it's always important to create that root first, and that foundation, because you don't want to be a jack of all trades and a master of none.
Yeah. Have you had to do that too with a lot of clients that you've had? Just have them focus more on one thing first, then we'll explore everything else that we could do.
Yeah, because I've had people come to me like, "Hey, so I'm about to start." I'm like, "What? No." Yeah. Drop your album. Yeah, get off my phone. Like, let's focus on putting this out first before you tell me you about to. Yeah, I'm thinking I want to do some restaurants. I'm like, what? Yeah. Can we get this single out first, please?
That'd be great.
Yeah. It'd be those moments, but then other times you're like, I'm not gonna lie, with Nip, I was a little bit skeptical at first. When he wanted to do the $100 mixtape, I was like, Nip, let's just put out the mixtape. He was like, nah, Karen. Sometimes you have to believe in the vision. Yeah. But it's really important. It's really important, just to reiterate again, to create that foundation for yourself.
Yeah, and like I remember when Nip first announced that, and then people were saying, "Oh yeah, like it's not, you know, he's not going to be able to do that." But me being like a diehard Nip fan, I'm like, yes, he is. Like people are for sure going to pay $100 for
and he did, and then he did $1,000, and then there were so many other high end people who started doing their own proud to pay campaigns and doing other things.
What other, you know, what investments in businesses are you in that someone, you know, who might not, you know or expect you to be involved in, that you are involved in?
Say it one more time, I'm sorry.
Oh, you're good. So what investments in businesses are you involved in that someone who doesn't know you might not expect you to be involved in?
I invested in a gym in Chicago.
Nice.
I'm doing gaming. That's going to be announced soon. Gaming? I'm really excited about that.
Gaming? Okay. Dope.
Let me see. And I'm like, which is super different for me, I'm going to be getting into the marijuana cannabis industry.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So it's pretty much those three things for right now. The gym was just, my best friend wanted to open a gym. One of my closest friends wanted to open a gym.
Yeah.
And why not invest in people that you love? That's what my membership is, even though I don't get to go often.
Yeah.
But I'd rather have a membership and pour into a friend than a business I don't know.
The e-gaming, what made you do that? Because that's that industry is massive.
Yeah.
I mean, multi-billion-dollar gaming industry.
Well, someone reached out to me because they had me in mind. Someone reached out to me. Mm-hmm. Two things happened. So someone reached out to me with their organization, their company, and they recently, I wish I could like fully give it, but it's not announced yet. They reached out to me and they were like, listen, I just raised all this capital. Mm-hmm. We have this money coming in, XYZ. I think you're perfect with the relationships you have. You're fresh, you're new, you can bring new eyes to a situation. And literally, I feel like everything happens with energy, divine energy, God, and stuff like that too. Because earlier that day, my goddaughter, she plays this game a lot. It's called Roadblocks. And I'm not familiar with it, but instead of now I make it a point to ask questions as opposed to why are you doing this? Like, why are you playing this game all day and being annoyed and saying a statement? I ask, what is this game? What are you doing? How does it work? Because she's super addicted to it. So that's when I realized, like, her talking to me and telling me about it. And then I did my own extensive research and looking, 52% of gamers are women. Wow. I was like, ooh, nobody's talking to us. See, you didn't even know. I was like, nobody's talking to us. Nobody's engaging us. And this is no longer, I was like, everything has been infiltrated. I said, gaming space, it's our time. So everything now is just like very neutral for everyone to enjoy. Everyone gets to like be at the forefront and stage of it. And I just want to do the same thing for people you may not necessarily think or be able to give them an opportunity too. So one of the first people I'm bringing on is my goddaughter. She's 8 years old, but she's great at the game. Those are one of the first people I'm signing. There's some other young women of color who have large platforms on social media who's into like anime and gaming and things like that. But they're like, nobody reaches out to me. So for me, it was important. It's important to see the people that may be invisible to other networks, but they're not invisible to me.
Nice. And that's another one of those crossover industries too, where it's like all these musicians are gaming, all the athletes are gaming when they're not playing. Like everybody's trying to stream and show off what they're doing, especially in the gaming world too. So it's one of those things that so many people are doing right now.
So Karen, we just have 5 more quick questions, but before we get to that, tell us anything that we should look forward to from you.
I'm looking forward to Civil Disobedience is coming out fourth quarter.
Nice.
I just released one of the new podcasts I'm doing. It's called Queen Business. Shout out to Nick Cannon.
Nice. He's a San Diego native, by the way. Shout out to Nick Cannon. Yep.
So that came out today. It's on iTunes, Spotify, the whole 9.
That came out today?
All important business. Yes.
Wow.
Came out today. Yes. So we're super excited. It's up on YouTube, Spotify, iTunes. So yeah, I mean, I'm excited about those 2. This project that's coming out at the end of the month. I should never said that, but
it's all right. You didn't say any names. You didn't say any names or anything.
Okay. I just thought about it. I was like, should never did that. But yeah, just this project, the book. I have my Civil Essentials line coming out, which is catering to your smile, just the person who's on the go, because the world's going to open back up. So the person who's on the go, making sure your smile is always as beautiful as possible. So just so many different avenues and business that's outside of music that I'm really excited about. It's just expanding the Civil brand.
You got a lot coming, sounds like. So Karen, for these last 5 questions, these are very introspective questions, but you can just try to give us quick, short answers.
Okay.
So when was the last time that you pushed yourself outside of your comfort zone?
What was the last what?
When was the last time that you pushed yourself outside of your comfort zone?
Those have been during COVID. Those have been personal.
Okay.
Which is just that thing of like just kind of showing up for myself. Because at the beginning of this, it was pretty much hard to kind of keep continuing on because the world was a big question mark. But then instead of questioning what was happening, I started accepting the unknown and trying to maneuver and work around it, which has been incredible. So it's just honestly making sure that I'm showing up for myself, trying new things. So yeah.
Nice. What was the last small act of kindness that you did for someone?
A close friend of mine, Quincy, was telling me about a new venture that he's going to look into today. So I gave him some advice and some capital
Nice.
to put into that business. So good luck. I must shoot him a text of good luck today. But
Nice.
yeah.
Nice, great.
That's great.
What is one area of your life, whether that be your family life, your social life, your spiritual life, your love life, whatever, that you feel that you need to give some more attention to?
It'll probably be my personal love life. Because I'll be transparent and say I don't think I have been giving him the just due the attention and the pouring of love into him. This has been a hard year for him.
Yeah.
Because this was supposed to be his big year, but COVID kind of messed it up. So it's just like really pouring into him and showing up for him the way he's shown up for me.
Nice, great. Yeah. Well, at least you're aware of that, because that's, that's huge. What is one good habit that you want to gain and one bad habit that you want to drop?
Good habit is continuing to have that full on. Good habit is it's more personal. I think just working out constantly, like on the machines and certain things. It's just making sure I'm staying healthy. I like to do outdoor things, so it's been a little bit hard.
Yeah.
I'm not a gym girl, so I just want to be more of a gym girl.
Okay. I've been following you for a minute. Like, you always seemed like you were kind of like a big fitness person. So to hear you say that, like, you're not a gym girl,
am outside. So it's like I'll go surfing, I'll do that, and it's like now when all those other things are taken away from you and you just got to use a treadmill and weights, it's hard for me.
Yeah, I hear you.
Yeah.
Yeah, you definitely got to switch it up. But what's one bad habit that you want to drop? Oh, well, basically you just
good.
Said,
that was a bad habit. Good habit that I want to bring in.
Yeah.
Showing up. Good habit. I want to just show up more. Be there for my friends and things like that.
Nice.
Commit more to them.
Yeah.
Commit more to friendship and love more than business.
Nice. And what is your overall purpose?
My overall purpose is you living that I have created for myself.
Nice. Great.
Love it.
That's and Karen, please leave us with some final words if you can.
Just thank you both so much for having me. To the person watching this.
Yeah.
I hope the conversation, I know I was a bit long-winded at times, but I just hope this conversation pours into you. You feel great and like you take a chance on yourself. I am a girl who comes from immigrant parents who necessarily had life programs for me, and I took a chance on myself. And me taking a chance on myself, I hope you see that you take whatever you see here, apply it to your world, and continue to have success and greatness. Don't be a clock watcher. Don't worry about this microwavable age we live in.
Yeah.
Enjoy yourself. Show up for yourself. Love yourself.
Yeah.
Give yourself grace. Be great in a world that wants you to be mediocre.
Yeah. I think I can speak for MB too. There's so much that I'm taking personally from this conversation.
Yeah.
I'm just going to be applying to
and I just want to quickly shout out to the plaques that you have, right there in the background. I see the Nipsey plaque.
Yeah.
What is that?
Thank you.
The Nipsey plaque, the Wayne, you know what I mean?
Carter 4.
Yeah, Nipsey, Wayne. I got Mac up there.
Yep.
I see you.
YG's in the corner.
You walk into Karen's crib.
Yeah.
You walk into Karen's crib and you getting flexed on you.
Oh, yeah. That's right in the door. Karen, we can't thank you enough for coming on Off the Record, and we can't wait to have you back. It was such a pleasure speaking with you, and we took so much away.
Thank you so much, guys. And I hope you have a wonderful day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
For Tim and MB's Off the Record, we're out.